Alright, welcome back to the podcast, back to Tomboy Official. This episode is going to be a My Queer Dreams episode, as I said in the previous episode. Let me just jump right into it. No pregame, nothing, let's just go. So this dream is what I'm considering potentially a fever dream or some kind of illness related dream from this type of I don't know, we'll call it an energy purging that was from whatever was going on with me for the last 7 days. That's what I'm considering this whole thing to be attributed to, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, so let's talk about this. So the dream, as I know it, there were two dreams. This one is what I woke up from at about 10:30 a.m. today, I think. 5:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Or something along those lines is when I think I had this dream. Maybe the other dream was before this, or maybe it was after, or maybe it was during. I don't remember, but I'm going to talk about two separate dreams. Because it was the same night. Wait, let me see. Maybe I'll talk about... No, I'll divide them up. But I'm going to talk about both of them. And I'm going to post this all today. So I'm going to talk about this one first. The one that I think I woke up from, that I was like really not happy to wake up from because I was really enjoying myself. It was a fun dream. So basically this dream was Caleb Hammer from the financial audit YouTube stuff. He was leading a group that looked like maybe some low-key local actors or YouTubers or something along those lines. And we were located in a classroom from my old school. I'm trying to remember what grade it would have been. What grade would this class have been? Actually, so let me think. Where I know where it would have been located, maybe. I don't know. It would have been from my elementary school classroom. I really don't remember which classrooms are which. Wow. It may have been the 6th grade classroom. 5th and 6th grade classroom, I think. Maybe. But then now I'm thinking of it, and there was another part of this dream that was from another classroom on the other side of the gym. I think. No. It would have been the same classroom because it would have faced the gym from this direction. So I think it was the same classroom in this dream. Either way, I wasn't that age. I was like the age I am now, but we were like having access to using that classroom in the school. I was initially with friends from San Diego. I think, I don't know who I was with or what we were doing, but we were walking around like I was with them, and then I went off with Caleb Hammer's group somehow, and was walking around a complex area that the best I can describe is that it looked like a mall, kind of. And the theme, if you had to choose a theme, it would be somewhere between like Las Vegas and like Lil Nas X. Like, just things were just kind of out there, like definitely for like catching the eye and like entertaining. But it seemed to me like a lot of queer themed environment. I was in a good mood. I was around, there were a lot of people I knew in this dream. So I guess a lot of my San Diego friends were at work, and some of them worked in this environment. So I don't know. It wasn't really a mall. So it was like, if you think of like a mall, but think of like Las Vegas when you're like outside, but think of that being almost like an indoor kind of mall with these like glossy floors, and then like kind of like Fremont looking area or something like that, Fremont Street or whatever it's called, with that thing that's like overhead, and then there's usually like musicians and all this kind of stuff going on. And it was kind of like that, but then almost this at the same time kind of like more similar to like, you know, when you walk through that little shopping area or mall type shopping area at an airport, how it's kind of like, but it wasn't as like dull and boring looking. It looked more like some kind of Pride Vegas party music video kind of place. But there were serious things happening there. There were like medical centers and all types of like environments, as well as like shopping and musicians and bars and clubs, and it was just like everything like in this bar. But it wasn't like you go into a door and there's stuff like you could like, I guess the way to describe it would be the walls were like short walls, kind of like when you're outside like on a patio, and you're like, say you're on a patio eating and the patio's by the sidewalk, like at those restaurants with the patios, like in San Diego, how there's a lot of restaurants that like the patio gate goes all the way to the sidewalk, and when people walk past they can like see you. It was almost like that, but like in a mall, and not like as structured and like grid pattern, kind of like those areas where you walk around like in Vegas, but then also kind of like a mall, like an airport kind of thing. Like, I say airport because airports have like stores and important things, but then you're also going to your gate, and then you're also doing other stuff. So it kind of felt like there were like gates, you like those kind of like how you're walking towards your gate, and there's those like hallways and stuff, like how the airport is. And then you would walk in and it's like, oh, we're in like a medical center, like a hospital like lobby or something, but it was all like really upscale, a little bit on the futuristic end. It all felt real. There wasn't really anything like really like odd to it, other than it was in the future. It wasn't like now. But yeah, it was very like, there were a lot of like flamboyant people around, and a lot of people who were like, you know, like if you were just to like scan the room and look, you wouldn't be able to tell like specifically like what gender expression, or, you know, there was a lot of like androgyny and different types of like themed kind of clothing looks, like goth looking people, and just all types of people, like almost like, if you think about it, almost like when you go to like how people have costumes like at raves and things, like, or people who are into like EDM or go to like EDC or something like that, and they wear like, you know, like certain like maybe goth dancers who have like all the like studded chains and stuff, and then like these like gothic dance, you know, like people with the high boots and the, you know, strange like striped socks and the wings and the bikinis and that kind of stuff. And, you know, so it was like in tutus and all, but like all these kind of outfits. But that was like, it wasn't costumes, like these were people's clothing, like people were going out like this. It wasn't like Anime Expo or something like that. Like in this dream, people were dressing like very much, that was like a normal way to kind of dress. So we weren't like fazed by it, but it was like, you know, I was walking around, and so in part of the complex I saw one of my friends, I think she was at like a little food or smoothie or snack stand, and I kind of came up kind of behind her because she kind of saw me and was getting up to the counter because she was in line. And by the time I got over to her, when she ordered, I was kind of like telling her, like, she's an ally, but she's not queer. She has a lot of queer friends, and I, in real life. And then I came up to her and I was like, hey, like, what's up? And I was telling her, you know, you should come to Cross Festival, like that's coming up in this March. But I was telling her, I was like, hey, it would be cool, you should come to Cross Festival. And I wanted to talk to her, but she was kind of like rushing because she was busy, like she was only there because she was like on a work break. and she was gonna go back down one of the halls to like where she worked in one of the areas. And then, ooh, it's chilly. I'm gonna roll up the windows actually. I think I got a lot of sun. I've been out here for like 50 minutes or so I've got a lot of sunlight. Maybe I'll roll down the window a little bit so I can get still some light, but just not all the breeze. Alright. That should be good. Alright. This is nature in the city, guys. Nature in the city, recovering from some kind of sickness-ish situation, and I don't want to risk going out. I don't even know if I'm contagious, so I don't really want to, expose other people either. But I figure the beach shouldn't be that bad, but I don't want to go to like a dispensary and like get people ill. So yeah. That was part of the dream. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, there were tons of colors everywhere. It looked like a very nice mall with decorations and nice flooring and like banners. And like, it was like a party in there. It was like a combination of like a mall, a shopping center, Vegas, like a boardwalk, and like, let me write that down because I might come back to this. Like a nightlife area, bars, clubs, mall, an airport, hospital, medical center. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. And it's like, yeah, there was like a multi-treatment, kind of multi-business site. So it's like the people who are into business and having offices, like, say if it was like, I don't know what kind of business, like the type of businesses where you have desks. Like think about, like little desks in offices, not really like the bullpen style, but like, kind of partially, like if you think about the show The Office and think about how they had like that open floor plan style for the most part. So think about that little office, something that would look more like that. Like you could see all the people, but maybe like glass doors, glass walls, that kind of thing. Almost similar to like, how you see those stockbroker movies, or like those people who work, like if you've ever seen The Sopranos, maybe a little spoiler here, but like where Christopher was kind of in charge of that, what do you call it? What is that thing Christopher was in charge of? What was it called? Like the what do you call it? I'm so blanking on the word for this. Like it was just a little office space, but it was like they were selling Webistics. It was like stocks for Webistics. In the show, that's what it was called in the show. That's what the I don't know what the ticker symbol was or anything, but if you think about that, like if you look at that, it was like a combination of those types of floor plans where you could like, it would be like in the mall when you walk past like a shop and then you see there's like people working, but they're like working like in offices, like, but it was like a mall because you could go like in the next door would be like a bar, so think of like a Wetzel pretzel type of little stand, or like a little hot dog on a stick kind of stand, or a lemonade kind of stand where it's just like a booth, like it's like a store front but just like a counter that you go up to. But say like, how in a bar where you can like go into the front and there's like a counter that's like the bar right there, and you could still go back into it and it was like a bar. It wasn't like you just had the front where you could just only go there as a customer. Like you could go in and there was like a bar and it was all open, you could see. So like I was walking around this place and I could look through and see, and there were like gay bars and like gay clubs and businesses and work, like people were working. People were having clients come into sessions. People were doing all this other stuff. And the location of this was technically the gym of that school that I used to go to in elementary. The way the school was built is like there was a parking lot out front off of the main road, and then a field in the back. If you got like past, like once you park in the parking lot, you could go walk straight to the back and there would be a field. And you think of like the school classrooms themselves were like a U shape. So the U would be, like people could come, the U would be like the classrooms were parallel to the main street, and then basically you'd have the main street, sidewalk, parking lot, and then the classrooms on one end, and then maybe the bottom of the U would be the walkway that you would take from the parking lot to the backfield, and then the backfield would be the other leg of the U, and then there would be classrooms on that end too, with the classroom doors facing the field, all parallel to the field. But pretty much any classroom, when you went inside, either through the parking lot side or through the field side, they had two doors. So there was a door from the parking lot and then a door from the gym, and the gym was in the middle of the U. So think of like a big square in the middle of a U, and the gym was in there. And so basically you could walk straight from the sidewalk into the parking lot, into the door of a classroom, and go in through the classroom and go into the gym. You could go just straight through the gym, straight across to another classroom door, through that door, and then on into the classroom, onto the field from that door that was attached to the field. Like every door was either attached from two doors from every classroom, either had two doors from the field or the gym, or from the parking lot and then the gym. And so basically this classroom where I said that we were initially at, before I left that classroom area with these actor types and Caleb Hammer and all these other people, YouTubers and such, before I left from that region, I was in the classroom, and then went into the door that would have been the gym. But then there was like this whole like wild like mall structure, multi-complex place, but it wasn't like a U shape like that. It was just like, I don't know what the shape was. It seemed like it was like as big as an airport, like, or a mall. You could just walk and walk and walk, and like it was a massive floor plan. So yeah, I saw the friend. This is the part where it gets even gayer. So I was with Krissa from, if you watch Case, so it's Krissa, it has her wife Amber and a couple other friends, Stevie and some other people. It's spelled Case, but the S is a $, and they're on YouTube and Instagram sometimes, and like they just kind of film like fun videos or little like kind of like stud question interviews, or like studs, stems answering questions, and like kind of like people of color and that queer people of color and that kind of thing. So yeah. So for something that was happening in the classroom before I had left and gone into this complex, I was with Krissa from that group and kind of walking in front of her, because like it was familiar. Like, she felt familiar. You know how it is when you kind of like know somebody, but you're not like, I can't really like tell you anything about this person because I don't like really know them. So I don't know a lot, but I've hung out with them before. Kind of like when you meet a friend, say if like you meet a friend of a friend, you've gone to a couple beach bonfires and like a couple picnics and they've been there, but it's like you recognize them, you know who they know, who in your group is kind of associated with these people. And then that was basically it. Like I didn't like I knew her from like around, but it's like I didn't know her, but we kind of recognized one another. And so I think of that crew, she was the only one I kind of like recognized, and she kind of recognized me somehow. And then I don't know what that was all about, because I don't know her at all in real life. I don't think I even know anybody who knows her, but I mean, I don't know. I know probably a fifth degree of separation, maybe 6-7 degrees, but probably about a fifth degree separation of somebody who knows better than I do, as in like they've seen her in person and know people kind of in the social circles through a professional level, but I don't know her and she's never seen me. Like, we don't work together, we don't nothing, like, but yeah, she was up in my dream, so she made a good impression, I guess. And somehow when I was in that when I was in that classroom, and then she was there, and we kind of like were, you know how when you like recognize somebody, so you'll go over closer to where they're at, because there was just like a group of people, and then we weren't like talking, we were just kind of like there waiting to see what we were supposed to do next. And some reason, like part of what I needed to do was to get pants. I don't know what that was all about, like shorts or pants or something. And I was like, maybe like size like 36-30 or something. Like, I've got short legs but a bit of a waist. 34 can tend to be a little snug, so 36s usually they'll fit. Like, if you're talking guys pants, those will usually fit the waist regardless of what my stomach and other things are deciding to do weight wise and fat wise and whatnot, shape wise. Usually 36 is a better choice, but 34 usually fits, but sometimes if it's like, it might be too snug of a fit. So in my head I was like, I need 36-30 pants. And I had initially been in that classroom on the side where the windows face the parking lot, and I was with one of my other coworker friends from that border clinic, another coworker friend, a male friend who is also another ally, and in that classroom there were some, you know how they have kids tables, like the tables are like lower than like they would be for like adults, so like kids kind of like craft tables that are like that weird like circular kind of shape, like maybe like a strange shape, so the teacher can sit at like a little divot in the table or whatever. Well, in the chair, not like in the table. You know what I mean. I don't even know how to speak right now. But yeah, but yeah. So I'd initially been with him at some of those tables, and he was talking, and we were at a short table facing the parking and bookshelves. Like, there were short bookshelves below the windows sometimes. So we were facing that direction, facing the window, and he was saying something, and we were there for the purpose of, we were all working on some kind of thing. Like, I don't know if it was an event where we were like part of the planning team, where like we were at that table doing some kind of craft type thing and having some deep conversation about something I can't remember at all. I couldn't even remember it when I woke up, but it was like there was a lot of depth to it, and I was like wanting to dive deep into this conversation, and I think we did. And I was like, it was interesting to me that I didn't feel like nervous or shy or anything, because there were other people around. We weren't like the only people, so it was kind of like, imagine having like a really intense personal conversation with like a bunch of people, but you know, we were kind of like, there was like no ego in this. Here we go. Our routine podcast ambulance. I think that was a paramedic. I could see it, but it looked like a paramedic. Hope those people are gonna be okay though, whatever's going on. Positive energy to them. I know I make fun when I see sirens and stuff, just because it always, like, I have a very heightened sense for it when I'm recording, because it's like I'm recording. I'm a little bit aware of like loud noises and stuff, people hearing me and people hearing other loud noises, and so like I kind of just kid just because it's like, oh, here it goes again. But it's like I do hope that the people that those health providers are going to, I do hope that they're okay. Like I do always hope that. I'm like, even though I'm making fun of it because I'm like, this damn noise, this loud ambulance or siren or whatever, but it's like I'm making fun of the fact that there's noise. It's not so much that like I am making fun of other people's like sicknesses and pain and stuff. And so, but I feel like I say that a lot too, because, you know, it happens a lot when I'm recording. It's like, here it comes. But it's just, you know, I'm in the city. I'm like literally like off of a highway. Like there's, you know, and if I'm sitting outside, of course, you know, like there's all kinds of noises. And, you know, I like being around like movement. It's kind of nice. Like, of course I like being quiet too, but like it's kind of like, you know, a little lively around. Like I don't live in the middle where there's like anything really going on, but it's like there's stores and restaurants and stuff across the street, and like little bitty shopping center, stuff like that, cleaners and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of foot traffic, and schools, like 3 schools right within a block of like within this block, and then like all that kind of stuff. So anyways, okay, so I'm trying to, I lost my place because I went off on a tangent. Yeah, so we were having this intense conversation, and our egos were like really not like kind of like very apparent. And that's something that I noticed about this dream, is that like the stuff that I would normally kind of be more like self-conscious about or whatever, I was not. Like I wasn't like, it was almost like, I don't know, I wasn't as inhibited as usual, I guess I'll put it that way, like at all, like in a way that felt very freeing and like just very just like comfortable. And I did kind of notice a feeling almost like that when I was microdosing psilocybin on Friday morning. That does kind of get me in that way a little bit sometimes. And so, and I was kind of curious, other than the lack of sleep or the poor sleep I did sleep. I don't want to say lack of sleep like I didn't sleep at all, but like the poor sleep on Friday night, and then not feeling good on Saturday night, even though I did take a microdose of psilocybin then too, but I took a really small microdose. It was half of what I had the night before, but the day before, morning before. So I was wondering why it was so I don't know, like yeah, Saturday felt way different than Friday. I'll put it that way. And then like I said, I was basically lounging around till like 2 p.m. on Saturday because I couldn't I didn't have a whole lot of energy because I didn't sleep that good the night before. So yeah, so yeah, no ego, just kind of very open and everything. A lot of comfort in that kind of experience. And I was really wanting to stick with that too, because there wasn't like a lot of anxiety in this dream at all. Like it was just kind of like everything was so matter of fact. So even like this really intensely personal conversation was just like matter of fact. There was no concern like, is other people, are they gonna overhear, is someone gonna judge, like what's this guy gonna think about what I'm saying about my situation, or how am I gonna react, or like any of that kind of stuff that I would normally be thinking about. I was not even Like, I was just kind of talking about it like you would talk about, like, if somebody asked you something like, what's your favorite color, you know, like I don't really have a lot of strong emotions attached to that question, and it was kind of on that level. And so, I don't know, in dreams I pay attention to that kind of stuff. And, you know, I don't really usually talk, well, I think I do usually talk about this kind of stuff on this podcast, because it's just kind of how I am. I try to, like, separate it out sometimes, and I'm like, I have this whole other podcast where I talk about, like, experiences when I'm, like, on something, or, like, when something extra out of the usual kind of occurs and I'm kind of questioning what's going on and all this. Usually I just save that for a whole other place, and I'm just like, it's some other plane of, like, thinking. But it's really hard for me to separate it out, because it is part of kind of how I see the world a lot of times, or how I question the world. And it is, like, a lot of my own experiences. So I don't really want to be, like, over here and, like, I'm only talking about gender or queer or LGBT related stuff. I mean, I feel like I can't, like, separate that out from myself just because it's some other, like, thing that's, like, sometimes just some weird off the wall kind of stuff that I'm, like, ideas that I play with and stuff, and, like, thoughts I play with and things like that. Like, so I'm just gonna keep, that's how I think, you know, so I'm not gonna really try to separate it out as much, and I have been trying to, but, you know, because I feel like I try to stay on topic, but it's like, then I start going off on these other places, to these tangents that are, like, some other explanation for things. So maybe people like that, maybe people won't. The analytics will tell. If you guys stop listening, then it's like, it's probably because of something I'm doing. And so, yeah, something I'm doing or not doing. I'm drinking this vitamin water. It tastes bitter to me. Like, sometimes I can taste things taste a little better, a little bitter. Probably because I'm, like, partially sick or something. Okay. So once I left that room with Krissa and that Caleb Hammer guy. Is it Hammer or Hamill? I don't know. I may have been screwing his name up this whole time. Sorry. And yeah, we went through the gym, and yeah, it became this mall, work center, entertainment space with plenty of LGBT type spaces. It had like a futuristic quality to it. People were wearing clothing that was almost similar to the style of Lil Nas X. I put Lil Nas C. I typed these out really fast right when I wake up. Otherwise, I just start forgetting chunks and chunks. But it's kind of weird because even when I'm talking about it now, I can visualize all of this still. So it's pretty cool. I always like, I don't know, I'm just so fascinated with dreams. I love dreams so much. I'm sorry, but I do. I was walking in front of Krissa, and at some point she made some kind of like comment about some kind of attraction towards me that she had, and I was accepting of this comment. You know, I was wearing some like fitted jeans and this LRG t-shirt that I have. It's called like Lifted Research Group. I like that. I like it. And I have a shirt, and I was wearing the shirt, and so to the comment, okay, so I wrote here that I told her thanks and I was shy, but I don't think I was shy. I think I was expecting to be shy, but I didn't actually feel that way. So that's what I'm gonna write. Okay. I'm editing as I speak. And then she, but I told her basically that I would come visit her at times, because now I knew like which areas of that multi-center complex place that she hangs out at. And so and I was kind of wondering like how she would respond, or like what I'm not really like, I don't know her, like I can't say that I'm like into her or not. Like I think she's a physically attractive person and has a lot of like really cool talents. And I saw her on, I think it was on Instagram the other day, where she had a video where she was twirling the, I don't know what it's called, where you like twirl that basketball on your finger, and then you like, that kind of trick. And then she kind of like she gave it to other people. So she was like on the street doing that. And then when people were walking past, she was like giving them the ball on their finger, and then they put it on their finger, and it was still like spinning. And then I think because I was like scrolling around like YouTube recommendations last night, I think I came across something that maybe she even has a short, or there's some other video with her in it, or something that I've maybe seen before that has her in it. Like, I don't like actively think about her, I don't know her, but I don't find her like, she seems like she'd be fun, but I don't really know. Like, I don't know her. Like, she's not a person that I actually know, other than like I consume some of her YouTube content, or online content. And so for me to be thinking like, I'm not like thinking about her like I like know her. This is the dream. It's a dream. It has like, I don't know, like, how people say like dreams have no bearing in reality, and then other people think otherwise. So I don't really know, but maybe in my dream world, maybe we know each other, because she felt like a familiar face in that dream, and it wasn't just because of YouTube. But I don't know, like, we were familiar to one another in this dream. It was the whole theme, and I don't know why it was her, but it was. So there's that. So yeah, so I kind of was, but I was kind of curious about like what she would think about if I would come visit her, and then kind of thinking like, okay, are we gonna actually make some plans? So yeah, and okay, and then I don't think at that time she said anything, but I wasn't like worried about it. But when I just put my notes, I put she didn't say anything. But in a way, when I was writing that, in a way I was kind of thinking like, if I was in real life, if I had kind of made a comment off of someone else's comment about something, and kind of put myself out there a little bit, and they didn't really say anything, I probably would have gone to some level of like overthinking it and being like, oh my gosh, like they don't like me, or like, oh, I'm like coming on too strong, so like let me like back off. Maybe this is like a Valentine's episode. Anti-Valentine's. I'm celebrating singles awareness again this year. But yeah, Valentine's episode. This is my Valentine's dream. But yeah, she didn't say anything. I kind of play with the idea of just writing like really gay stories, like just gay, but not necessarily gay for like sexuality, like for like the sex necessarily, but like gay, just like gay themes, like this kind of thing. I was just really gay, I might make a short story out of this, because this is freaking, I don't know. I think I'm just stoned. I'm pretty sure I'm just stoned, honestly. But that sounds like a fun idea of what to do for the rest of my afternoon. Shoot. I'm sorry I'm taking so long. I can't help it. I thought I accidentally deleted the end. Alright. So I just closed the app. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got to an area that looked similar to some outside Vegas space, but it was possibly like indoors, but it just felt like it had that outdoor feel, or maybe it was like a hybrid. There were people in drag and behind like this small barrier wall, and then like they were dancing kind of similar to, like, I couldn't see below the wall, but I assumed some of them were like using like roller skates. You know how people dance like to the music with roller skates on? I don't know if there's like a name for it, but dancing with roller skates, kind of like like a skate rink, or how people do it just out in public, like at Venice Beach or wherever. It's an art form. It's like a sport art form. I don't know what it's called, because I know like people do that with ice skating and rollerblading too, so I don't really know what it's called. There's kind of like this dance style to it, or like kind of like a style where you're kind of almost doing like tricks or something. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to get into on my rollerblades. Just kind of like not doing tricks necessarily, but kind of like that dance aspect. I just don't have a place to practice, because I feel weird doing that kind of stuff in public. Like, I'm already a little like weird about dancing in public. I'm not gonna go on a tangent, but I just have this one thing to say, and I'll shut up about it. But like, I was thinking the other day about how the religion I grew up in, you know, it has this like strange relationship with drums and certain types of beats and with dancing. And I was thinking about, like, you know, how healing I found both of those types of things in my actual life. And how that, you know, just kind of got to me a little bit. It just kind of like came to me where I was like, oh, like I was missing out on so many years of like certain types of healing methods, and like, you know, I think there's a lot of spirituality and healing components to dance and like music and all that kind of stuff. So to completely like avoid it, like not all music, but like there were certain types of music we were expected to like not engage in, which of course it was just like all of this went against my nature. And I was kind of thinking about I didn't naturally gravitate towards that. Like, even when I was in church, like some churches I'll be like, oh, I want to like dance to these songs because they're like so cool, like with the drums, and like it was like fun, and then like other stuff like that. So it was kind of weird where I was like, oh, like, or we go to like these Christian concerts, like punk rock Christian bands, and it was like, are we allowed to dance? Are we not allowed to dance? I remember at one church, one of our favorite bands came, the OC Supertones, and we were like in the pews of this church, and me and like 3 or 4 or 5 of my friends, we were like in our like maybe 20 years old or something, we just start like rocking out, like we run out to the aisle, and it wasn't just us, there were like all the people our age were like about to start like this mosh pit, and then like the deacons or whatever, they're like, this is a church, and they're like, so they sent us all back to our seats, and then like the band is just like rocking out, and we're just like in our chairs just like rocking out. And I was like, it's Christian music, like why would it matter if you have a mosh pit like in the middle of some praise Christian band, you know? Like, how is that like not okay? But I don't know, it was just, I don't know, it kind of comes to my mind. It's not, I'm really distracted. I think I'm kind of like avoiding talking about the rest of this, but yeah, so yeah, that's kind of the end. Like, I wanted to watch those people with the roller skating stuff, and then I was kind of just wanting to connect with this individual in a way, like kind of like, oh, like we're getting to know each other, let's do that. It sounded like a fun time. And there's some other stuff that like visually I can like think of how it looked, but I don't really know the context of what was happening. Like, there were certain times where like I was with either her or other people from the group, and we were like interacting in some social form. It was almost like maybe telepathic or something. It was like there were no words, I remember. There was no topic theme, I remember, but there was like something I was sensing when I was with them, and we were like interacting, but it wasn't like talking, and it was like some other type of interaction that I only experience in dreams sometimes. Like, I don't think I have telepathy. I don't know. Some people might argue that, not that I have telepathy, but some people might argue that, like, humans in general, you know, some people, like, people have telepathic abilities to some extent. I do think I can attune to people easily. That's what I do think. I don't know what I would call that. And it comes and goes, because sometimes it's easier for me to do, and then other times it's just like I'm just so disconnected from everybody, including myself. But sometimes I'm really, like, tuned into people, and I don't really know what I would call that. Like, I can't, like, read them or anything, but it might just be called anxiety or paranoia. I don't know. You know, and it's not even in a negative way, really. Like, I don't feel like I have, like, a negative, like, I'm not, like, tuned into people, like, oh, this person has bad intentions and that person's thinking bad things. Like, not like that, but just kind of like wanting to interact with people. Maybe, like, just I notice it the most when I socially, like, meet somebody that's kind of new, that feels like they want to socialize a little bit, and then I'm just kind of like okay, let's, like, socialize, and I'm, like, feeling this person out because I don't really know them, so I'm kind of, like, trying to tune into, like, their expressions and how they express themselves or whatever, and how they react to me and stuff. Like, I'm trying to, like, see, like, what kind of data I can socially gather as fast as possible, and be, like, attuned to them to kind of know how to communicate best with them. Maybe, like, sometimes, like, on good days I feel like I do that, and then on other days I'm just like, you can't even ask me if I remember somebody's name. Like, I won't even know. And so, yeah, but it was a very social dream. It was very fun. It was very fun socially, like, especially because I didn't have, like, stressors coming up. Like, it was kind of like one of those dreams where I'm like, I wish that I could have done this in real life. It would have been so fun. I would have had such a fun time having this dream. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really know why it was Krissa. Like, why do we dream about anybody we dream about, you know? I don't know why my other two friends were in there. I don't know why Caleb I gotta look it up now to see if his name is Hammer or Hamill. Now it says Hammett. Oh, man. Hammer. It's Hammer. I was right in the first place. Okay, so I was just second guessing myself. Cool. Let me see. All right. Sorry. I'm planning. I'm in the middle of planning. All right. So, yeah, like, it was fun though. I had a fun dream. That was a fun time. I don't know. Like, I don't understand. It's been kind of funny since I started, like, noticing the dreams I have, and when I started having just, like, multiple series of, like, queer dreams, and just started, like, writing the ones down that I could remember. Like, I do consume a lot of YouTube content. Like, I'm not I watch it more than television, so I do watch it a lot. I don't know how much, like, probably a lot. I think my phone tells me like the stats, and I'm almost afraid to look, and I probably will not say. But I do have days where I'm not like fully on my phone, but it's only because like if I'm doing something else. But if I count like texting, I'm on my phone a lot. But yeah, like I like dreams that challenge me socially, or just have some aspect of them that when I remember them or write them down and then can like at least refer to the notes where I write it, I can kind of think about that more. So so I think I'm done with that recording. This is a long recording, 50 minutes long, a lot of distractions, but I feel like when I have energy and time, I'll just record, because this is my podcast. I can do whatever the heck I want, right? Who cares? Content is content. If you want to hear it, here it is. I think this is going to be a frustrating episode for people to listen to, because I'm not my best focused self. But yeah. Alrighty. I will be signing off of here for now. I'm going to record the other dream. I don't know if I'm going to go on a tangent with that other dream or not. But alright. Thanks for listening.